I've been training for over 20 years, and these 11 exercises have helped me to build the most amount of muscle. Now, I'm going to preface this video by saying these exercises work specifically for me, but they may give you some insight in order to help you change your training and build more muscle. All right, let's get rolling. So for biceps, what has worked well for me to add bulk to my biceps? Any single arm dumbbell movements has really worked really well for me, because for me, whenever I grab a barbell, I develop imbalances. I don't feel it as well, and I don't put enough tension on the biceps when I do that. So for biceps, anytime I use a single dumbbell, it just works way better for me. I specifically love the one arm dumbbell preacher. I really like those. I think that's a strict movement. It's really good done off an incline bench. It really isolates the biceps and helps you to keep the most amount of tension on it, hence building more muscle in that area. All right. Now for triceps, I've done a lot of different tricep movements, and I think you're going to be surprised about this one. But for triceps, I love a single arm cable extension. So, most guys go into the gym, they grab a V-bar or a press down bar, and they do both arms. Now, the reason why I like doing it one arm is very similar to the bicep reason. I get to isolate each arm independently. Okay, so I'm able to stimulate each tricep and make sure each one is getting equal push for development and also for the execution of the movement. Okay, so I love the single arm cable extension. It really helps me to load the tricep. It helps me to keep my elbow safe. I can get a lot of blood into the triceps doing that. So the single arm cable extension for triceps for me has been one of the exercises that has added a lot of bulk to my triceps. Now, I was tossed up between doing a skull crusher here because skull crushers are really good movement. But again, for the same reason with the biceps, sometimes I just feel like I'm getting a little more out of one side. I like the idea of working each arm independently because, again, every limb is even built differently on every person. You ever notice how sometimes you flex your arm, one tricep may have a little bit more of a hang on one side than the other. Your bicep may be a little more peaked on one side than the other. That's just genetically where your muscle insertions are. So I think training each arm independently makes a big difference. I do this for a lot of my clients too, and they really do feel a difference and see a difference on their arms when they go to single arm movements for arm development. All right, so that was the arms. Next, chest. You guys already know what I'm going to say if you've been following my videos for any amount of time. The barbell bench press, the king movement for building muscle on your upper body. I really don't have much to say here. Do the barbell bench press, get strong in that movement. Don't worry about how much weight's actually on the bar, but focus on getting good quality reps. Stay between the 5 and 8 rep range and just try to keep adding weight on there and getting good stretch and flex every single time you do the barbell bench press. And it's really going to add a lot of bulk to your upper body. So barbell bench press, I think a lot of people will agree with me. Although there are some of you guys out there who think that the barbell bench press is a suboptimal movement. Give me a break. Give me a break. You can't compare dips to a barbell bench press. You just can't. Or a machine press or anything like that. Barbell bench press, king. And you can alternate between an incline and a flat. I just prefer the flat barbell. Incline does have its place though. All right. Next, shoulders. Now, it's not a shoulder press. It's not a front raise or anything like that. When you want good capped deltoids, you have to be spamming your medial delt. My son uses that word all the time, so I'm stealing it from him. But lateral raises are specifically done on the cable. I love doing them lying with cuffs on my wrist. You could take the forearms out of the equation. You could really spam that middle deltoid and really get a lot of growth out of it, especially with the cable because there's constant tension on there. So literally, I will do anywhere between 4 and 8 sets of lateral raises just like that, just spamming that middle delt, but it really does add that nice capped look to your shoulders. Now, in addition to that medial deltoid, when you want capped shoulders, we have to look at the rear delt. The rear delt is also going to add that pumpkin cap delt that you're looking to get. That rear delt is going to help you give you depth from the front. You could see like that little bit, and especially from the side, you'll have more thickness back there. So rear delts, same thing. I love a cable rear delt. I set up a flat bench straight up, so I'm nice and strict. I grab the cable and I just come across my body just like that. And like my son says, I literally spam those. I'll do anywhere between 4 and 6 sets, spamming them every shoulder workout to make sure I hit that area and get good development that way. All right, that's the rear delts. That's covering the shoulders. Front delt are going to get hit with the barbell bench press and any other pressing movement you do. You don't need to overemphasize the front deltoid at all. You're just asking for an injury if you are. And some people might argue and say, hey, what about shoulder press? It's not necessary. So I've been doing this a lot of years. I've had shoulder press in and out of my routine, and I didn't get much out of doing them. So I'd rather just focus on all my pressing when it comes to my chest development and getting more out of it, and then just spamming my lateral raises, my rear delts to really, really focus on building cap delts. Next muscle, moving to the traps. Traps, again, I did a video on this. Traps are a great movement because they give you the appearance of being more jacked than you actually are. So when your traps are really developed, people look at you a little bit different because it's kind of like when they're looking at you in your face, they see your traps. So what movement for traps? Any neutral grip shrugs. I specifically like a neutral grip machine shrug. That neutral grip is just way better for overall trap development because you're moving in line with the fibers. A regular barbell shrug, your hands are turned over, it's in front of you, and it's kind of like you get jammed up. When you're in a neutral position, it's a lot better to load the traps. Now, if you don't have access to a neutral grip machine, like one where you put the plates on, I always like a trap bar. So you can put a trap bar and put the weight on the trap bar. Most gyms have a rackable track bar, one that goes on the rack. So you can literally just set it up on the rack. So this way you can just pick it up and go. It's kind of annoying to pick it up off the floor. But trap bar, neutral grip, any neutral grip shrug that you can overload is going to help develop those traps and give you monstrous Bane-like traps. All right. Next muscle group, you back. I split this into two. So we're talking about lats. Specifically for the lats for this one, I love one arm lat pull downs. I basically set it up in like a cable crossover and I come down and I really focus on squeezing my lats down. That has done wonders for my V shape. And I think that adding that in there is definitely important. Again, very similar to the arm talk that we talked about. When you do one side at a time, you can focus on each lat individually and get the most out of that movement. Whereas if you were to do a pull down, you're working both sides at the same time. Sometimes you have a dominant side and you can develop imbalances that way, which is why I like doing one arm that way. Now, for back thickness, one of the best movements I have found is to really, really hit the thickness back here is the wide grip cable row. Okay. And the reason why I like this is because I set up a wide bar. I keep my arms nice and wide and I pull back and I really, really hit that area between the lower part, middle part of the traps and that thickness of the back. I really feel like that puts a lot of tension on that area. I've done barbell rows and other movements like that. I just don't feel like it adds enough tension to those areas. Barbell rows are a great movement, but the wide grip cable row done just like that really puts a lot of tension on that middle back. And I've added a lot more muscle back there since doing that. All right, so that's what I would recommend there. And then let's talk about the legs. I know some of you are probably going to skip this video at this point, but hear me out. So legs, what are we going to do with legs here? We're talking about specifically quads first. So we're talking about hack squats. Hack squats, the best exercise for putting tension on the quad muscle specifically. I think that hack squats are way better than a barbell squat. I love barbell squats. I'm a powerlifter, so of course I've done them for years and years and years. But when it comes to actual quad growth, they're subpar. Hack squats, on the other hand, you can really hammer away at the quads and really, really add a lot of meat to those quads doing hack squats. All right, hamstrings. Can't go wrong with a basic lying hamstring curl. It's just the same way, same thing like a preacher curl for your biceps, same thing for the hamstrings. I think it's a great movement. You don't have to worry about getting injured doing those as opposed to doing like a stiff leg deadlift or RDL. There's a lot of tension and torque on the lower back when doing that. Can't go wrong with a lying basic hamstring curl. Really good for overloading that area, putting tension on the hamstrings and developing that nice hang in your hamstrings. All right, and calves, another muscle group that a lot of you guys skip, but calves can't go wrong. Basic standing calf raise. The key here is if you want to get big calves, you gotta load weight on it. When I was working out in a commercial gym, I used to stack plates on top of it. It was very annoying to do, but again, it just works so well. You gotta overload the calves. Remember, if you weigh 180 pounds, 200 pounds, your calves are used to bouncing that weight around all day long. So you gotta really, really pile the load on there to build up those calves. But those 11 exercises, like I said, have done wonders for my physique. So I want you to try those in yours and make sure you can get more development out of them and build more muscle, all right? And because you made it this far into the video, I got a free gift for you. I have a free 6-week training program that I want to give you. No strings attached. It's free. All you got to do is click that link below, get that program, because I just want to help you to build more muscle and avoid all the mistakes that I made along my journey, all right? This was Anthony, AB Fitness, and I'll catch you on the next one.